at 2.8 million, with the number of deaths at over 45,800. The DOH says the low case count is caused by the weekly dip of testing output. 6 laboratories also failed to submit data. Now, amid more mobility in Metro Manila and what seems to be a stable number of COVID-19 infections in the regions, city health officials and experts are expected to make recommendations to local governments on the possibility of prohibiting unvaccinated children from entering malls. MMDA Chairman Benhur Abalos says this will be the basis for mayors to make a common stand on the matter. Our George Cahiles has that story.
Alam ko kayong mga magulang gustong-gusto ninyong ipasyal ang mga anak ninyo after staying for so long inside your home due to lockdowns. Pero isipin ninyo kung maliliit pa ang mga anak ninyo at hindi pa bakunado, do not expose them to the virus or virus.
President Rodrigo Duterte thinks there should be restrictions among children entering enclosed and crowded areas, like malls, especially when they're still unvaccinated against COVID-19. He is urging local government units to create their own ordinances to this effect. The Metro Manila Development Authority has created a technical working group composed of city health officials and experts to look at possible travel restrictions among unvaccinated children. MMDA Chairman Benhur Abalos says this may serve as a basis for Metro Manila mayors to have a unified stand on the matter.
Tinanong ko nga kay Sec Anyo kasi it's a new development. We just want to be clarified. Ito ba hong directive ng presidente, is this absolute? Pag-aralan nyo na lang kung anong edad talaga, kung ano naaagma. Yun ang sinabi sa akin ni Sec Anyo po on record.
For San Juan City Mayor Francis Zamora, it's the parents' responsibility to prioritize the welfare of their children.
It is an option if they would like to bring their kids, but as parents, we know what is best for our children. So, iiwas na lang natin sila sa mga situation na sa tingin natin ay magiging high risk para sa kanila.
Some parents have no problem restricting the entry of unvaccinated children in malls. But vaccinating children below 12 years old is quite another matter for many.
Maliliit pa yan. Kasi yung nababalitaan ko kasi ngayon, minsan di maganda yung kinahantungan ng mga bakuna. Yung iba naman maganda, yung iba naman hindi.
Kung nahihilo ako, yung binakunahan ako ay sila pa kaya na mga bata pa.
By taking extra precautions, these parents are convinced their children can safely visit outdoor leisure areas such as parks, at least for now. George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
Malacanang says the president is only making an appeal to consider restrictions for unvaccinated children in malls, adding it is still up to the local governments to decide depending on the situation in their areas. While restrictions for children have yet to be finalized, the face shield policy is now clear. The government is no longer requiring the use of face shields in areas under alert levels 1 to 3. President Duterte has approved the recommendation of the Interagency Task Force on the voluntary use of face shields in places with relatively low COVID-19 alert levels. But this doesn't mean you can now dispose of your face shields. For areas under alert level 5 and granular lockdowns, face shields are still or remain mandatory. It is also a must in hospitals, clinics, and quarantine facilities. Local governments and private establishments in places under alert level 4 are given the discretion to keep or scrap the policy. The president of the Philippine Medical Association, on the other hand, says the government should stick with the rule as it provides an additional layer of protection, especially for children. Well, fully vaccinated healthcare workers are eligible to receive COVID-19 booster shots beginning tomorrow, but the health department has yet to release the final guidelines on the administration of the booster shots. CNN Philippines saw a copy of the department's letter to hospitals. The agency is asking medical directors to send a list of health workers who have already been fully vaccinated for at least 6 months. It even asked the number of health workers who preferred Sinovac, Moderna, and Pfizer vaccines, as well as the number of doses given in a day to determine how much will be delivered. Infectious diseases specialist and vaccine expert panel member Dr. Jean Solante explains why the booster or additional dose is more effective when given 6 months or more after the final dose.
Very important when you follow that 6 months, at least 6 months interval, you have a better immunogenicity compared to giving it earlier. No? Although it may not be significantly very high ang difference, but it's still better to give it more than 6 months rather than giving it less than 6 months. The Sinovac given 3 months after, by which the immunogenicity was really not as good as that compared to given 6 to 8 months after.
The Food and Drug Administration confirms giving the green light to use 4 vaccine brands as booster shots. These are Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Sinovac, and Sputnik. The FDA says all these brands may be used for a person who is vaccinated with the same brand. Only Sputnik can be used for people who received a different brand for their primary shots. The Philippine General Hospital and the Lung Center of the Philippines say they may not be able to begin the administration of booster shots tomorrow, pending vaccine allocations from the Health Department. Establishments and labor groups are also waiting for the guidelines from the Labor Department on the mandatory COVID-19 vaccination for on-site workers in areas with enough vaccine supply. Our Tristan Nadalo has more.
Pasita de Guzman, a food business owner in Marikina City, says that sales are slowly picking up as COVID-19 restrictions ease in Metro Manila.
Hindi ka kaya dati nung yung dati, nung una, wala. Wala kaming tao, puro take out lang kami walang dine-in. Buti ngayon, naka-recover na ng konti.
And amid the impending rollout of the mandatory COVID-19 vaccination for on-site workers beginning December 1st, Pasita says that this is no longer a cause of concern for her since all of her 12 restaurant staff are fully vaccinated.
Mabuti na yung nag-iingat para lahat safe tayo, di ba?
Same is true for another business owner, Mark Asilio, who says that he prioritizes the welfare of his staff by urging them to get vaccinated.
Na-require ko rin yung mga tao ko na kailangan fully vaccinated sila. In the first place kasi, ang siniserve natin food. So from there, at least feel safe yung mga customer na kumain dito.
Meantime, the Labor Department has yet to issue the guidelines for the mandatory vaccination for on-site workers next month. But Labor Chief Silvestre Bello says that while there is no law mandating vaccination, requiring it for employment could fall under the management's prerogative, as well as the regular RT-PCR and antigen testing for unvaccinated workers, which will be shouldered by employees themselves.
So they can still retain their status of employment, kaya lang hindi sila makapasok kung hindi sila magpa-PCR. And that is all right. That is within the discretion of management.
Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship Joey Concepcion says that vaccinating all workers except for those with valid health reasons is the way forward to counter the economic impact of the pandemic.
So anong mangyayari dito sa mga may-ari? Anong gagawin nila sa empleyado? Lalagay lang sila sa isang tabi kasi nakakahiya naman yan. Yung mga customer niyo, bakunado.
But Labor Group Centro says that any punitive approach towards vaccination will do more harm than good in the government's move to vaccinate workers.
Citing high inoculation rate in Metro Manila, business owners say that the main challenge now is vaccinating workers in the provinces where hesitancy remains high due to misinformation. Tristan Nadalo, CNN Philippines.
Coming up on Newsnight, Malacanang shoots down claims President Duterte is running for senator to evade a probe into the war on drugs. And presidential aspirant Bongo is still hopeful that Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte will run with him next year. Details when we return.
Breakfast bago mag-class? It's so easy. With Pure Foods chicken nuggets. From freezer, straight to toaster, to their tummies. Crispy, juicy, chicken tasty. Pure Foods chicken nuggets.
Kabilang ba kayo sa mga Pilipino na nahihirapan sa mga transaksyon dahil wala o kulang ang mga valid IDs?
Huwag nang mag-alala dahil narito na po ang PhilSys, ang identification system ng bawat Pilipino.
Para sa Step 1 registration, pumunta lang sa register.philsys.gov.ph para makapag-register sa PhilSys online. Ito ang PhilSys, ID natin to.
Making a strawberry martini. We start by adding ice into our mixing glass, and in goes your GSM Premium Gin. And then we add our dry vermouth. Finally, the strawberry syrup for some sweetness. Now take your bar spoon. Once all blended nicely, grab your strainer and pour your cocktail into your martini glass. Garnish this with some fresh strawberries. There you have it, your strawberry martini made with GSM Premium Gin.
To have our Christmas launch today here at SM Aura. This is our romantic Christmas event launch. We're holding this event to just remind our customers never to lose hope. Christmas is always a season of love, joy, and hope. So we hope we are able to give that to our customers. So for tonight, there's also SM Mega Mall that's holding their launch, and there will be other SM Super Malls also doing their launch this coming week. Every mall has a different theme, all almost carrying the spirit of hope and love. We invite you actually to also visit the other malls and be delighted with the surprise that we have to usher in Christmas.
In Bulacan, residents enjoy easier access to the kind of water we all deserve. This is thanks to SMC Infrastructure's Bulacan Bulk Water Supply System project, a treatment facility that provides affordable and potable bulk water to the 24 municipalities of Bulacan. It produces an average volume of 160 million liters per day for around 165,000 households. It also has a maximum capacity of 388 million liters per day. This meets the increasing water demand of Bulaqueños. The project also cuts down the use of deep wells, helping mitigate the environmental impact of excessive groundwater extraction. The Bulacan Bulk Water Supply System project provides Bulaqueños the affordable and reliable potable water supply they need.
Welcome back to CNN Philippines. A major rail line is set to implement a new payment scheme in a bid to make commuting safer and more convenient amid the pandemic. Chrissy Di Matulak tells us more.
Vilma is a government employee who frequently rides the train. She says it's more practical to use a beep card, which is a stored value card, for her trips rather than constantly lining up for a single journey ticket.
PWD kasi ako, oo. So, kapag ka naka-beep card ka kasi ganito, meron kang discount. Oo, malaking bagay siya. Instead na 15, 10 pesos na lang.
It could be time-consuming, she says, to constantly reload her beep card at the station. Soon, Vilma can purchase her train ticket at the comfort of her home. The Light Rail Manila Corporation, operator of LRT1, has just presented a concept of QR code ticketing system.
Yung sa proposal po namin sa aming POC, sa proof of concept sa QR code, yung una pong use niyan is yung sa single journey tickets, no? So yung let's say sa weekend lang biyahe, doon na ho sila bibili ng ticket sa QR code.
Instead of physical tickets, the train management plans to use QR codes as single journey tickets to avoid contact. Credits can be purchased through electronic wallets. So just like the physical tickets, you could just have it scanned through the QR validator. Then take the train. Aside from beep card, those who want to buy a ticket can also download a QR code through GCash, PayMaya, and BPI. LRMC intends to implement the initiative on the first quarter of 2022. The project is designed to help commuters travel faster and safer, especially during this pandemic. Chrissy Di Matulak, CNN Philippines.
Presidential aspirant and Senator Bongo remains hopeful that Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte will still decide to be his running mate in the 2022 election. Meanwhile, a television host steps in looking to mend what he claimed were strained ties between the mayor and her father, President Duterte. Our senior correspondent David Santos has more.
A very lively Senator Bongo launching another branch of his pet project, the Malasakit Center, in Imalabon Hospital on Tuesday. One moment, he was churning out jokes and giving away cash aid, bikes, and shoes. The next moment, he turned a bit sentimental.
Sa totoo lang po, sasaktan pa po ako hanggang ngayon.
Pero sir, ngayon ba?
I'm still hurting po. Sa totoo lang, nasasaktan pa po ako hanggang ngayon.
The administration senator saying he could barely wrap his mind around the idea that he is now the one running for the highest post in the country. He made a deal with his longtime boss, President Rodrigo Duterte, initially to run for vice president because they were hoping Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte will seek the presidency.
So biglaan lang po, 2 days prior may filing. Sinabi niya, Bong, ikaw nang tumakbo dahil wala na pong kandidato yung partido natin. Babatuhin tayo ng partido, wala man lang isa sa atin tumakbo. Then I accepted the challenge.
But as it turned out, the presidential daughter chose to seek the VP post, throwing their plans in limbo. Now that he is seeking the presidency instead, Go is hoping Mayor Sara will run with him.
Malaking bagay po yun. Kung sakasakaling susuportahan niya po ako.
Mayor Sara, however, has yet to make an official announcement. But TV host Willie Revillame is stepping in to be an unlikely mediator, assuming there are indeed strained ties between the two Dutertes. Revillame said he spoke with the president over the weekend, then decided to call Mayor Sara on Monday.
Dapat maging isang pamilya. Kasi pag nakakakita ka na ng magulo, hindi ba? Nakakakita ka na nagkakagulo, nagkakaaway-away. Napupustrate ang bawat Pilipino.
Revillame says he owes it to the president and to Go why he managed to get his TV program back on air during the lockdown. So Revillame said he took the initiative to help mend whatever differences they have now with Mayor Sara.
Sinabi niya, wala naman kaming problema. Sabi niya, sobrang malumanay magsalita, Willie. Wala kaming problema. Ako sasabihin ko siya, pati si Senator Bongo, tinanong ko, may problema po ba? Wala naman. Kaya lang, iba lang siguro yung partido ko sa partido nila. Siguro gano'n, siyempre may sarili siyang desisyon eh.
Looks like for now, their political plans are still up in the air until Mayor Sara makes up her mind. David Santos, CNN Philippines.
Meanwhile, Bongbong, the son and namesake of the late former dictator Ferdinand Marcos, still awaits Sara Duterte's acceptance of her adoption as the vice presidential bet of his party, the Partido Federal ng Pilipinas. Malacanang saying President Duterte's senatorial bid has nothing to do with the International Criminal Court's probe into the war on drugs. The palace insists the president wishes to continue serving the people after his term ends next year. It says if Mr. Duterte wins as senator, he will comply with Senate protocols that include filing his Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth, or SALN, which he last released publicly in 2017.
He still can contribute to public service, no longer as president, but now as senator. If he wins, at sana naman po yung ating mga kababayan ay magpatuloy ng kanilang suporta kay Pangulong Duterte. Siya po'y manatili sa pagseserbisyo sa taong bayan sa kapasidad bilang senator.
Carlo Nograles there speaking as the acting presidential spokesman. Mr. Duterte named him to the post after Harry Roque resigned to gun for a Senate seat. Ako Bicol Party List Representative Alfredo Garbin describing Nograles' appointment as a, quote, welcome breath of fresh air, unquote. Garbin praised Nograles' cool, non-combative demeanor, saying he looked forward to better public discourse, information dissemination, and hopefully transparency from the palace. Presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos is considering including President Duterte in his senatorial lineup. Marcos' spokesperson Vic Rodriguez says his Senate slate will be revealed this week, describing it as, quote, formidable with candidates coming from different parties. But he clarifies this does not mean Marcos is aligned with the Duterte administration. Lakas CMD President Martin Romualdez also looking to include the chief executive in their lineup. Romualdez notes Lakas CMD was one of the parties that helped elect Duterte as president in 2016. Well, yesterday's deadline for the substitution of candidates gave us a clearer picture of who will go up against who in the 2022 elections. We'll talk about that more as we sit down for another episode of your weekly political appointment fix, Politics as Usual, tonight at 8:30. Daughter withdraws her candidacy for re-election as mayor, close on the heels of a drug raid that it turns out didn't target her information officer. Flies to a luxury island resort for a birthday party of the Speaker of the House, officially leaves her local party, hops on over to Cavite to be ninang sa kasal, even walking in on the arm of a man who's clear about his intentions to run for president.
I am running for president, full stop.
That Cavite pit stop was also where the daughter promptly swore allegiance to the political party of the father of the bride, which completely caught her father's political party, or at least one faction of it, off guard, leading them to having their presidential candidate, who said at the start he didn't look like a mockery, withdraw his bid the very next day.
This party decision nga. I was ordered by the party to withdraw. So, I have to withdraw.
All right. And then their VP candidate withdrawing his own COC, only to file a COC for president with another political party, accompanied by the master he served for so long, whose political lieutenant announced the president, the incumbent one for the next 6 months still, would file his own COC for VP on D-Day.
Babalik presidente sa Monday para mag-file.
Are you running for senator? Lalagay ko na yung aming camera.
Vice President.
Which then begged the question, which got this strange reply in the form of another question.
I don't know, nag-file ba?
And this didn't help either.
I have thousands of supporters who cried last October 8th, and I cannot find it in my heart to make them cry again on November 15th. After the deadline, the offer to run for vice president became an opportunity to meet you halfway,
leading the entire country to come to a screeching halt, just like those wild roller coaster rides where you're suspended at the highest point right before you plunge to the bottom of your upside-down stomach. Because after all, Sunday was and is rest day, the day before Monday, D-Day, the day we were told everything would be clearer.
A lawyer, Melchor Aranas, representing President Rodrigo Duterte, has also arrived, this time to submit the COC of President Rodrigo Duterte as her substitute candidate.
Wala naman pong problema sa samahan siguro na mag-ama, no? Ang sinabi lang ni Presidente, hindi nagkonsulta si Mayor Sara sa kanyang mga political plans. Sabihin na lang natin na gaya ng kahit anong relasyong pamilya, minsan may tagpuhan, pero wala pong kaduda-duda, nagmamahalan po mag-ama.
We've said this before and we'll say it again. Politics is a favorite Pinoy pastime. Next to basketball, boxing.
The new Miss Universe is...
and beauty pageants. But in beauty pageants, if the title holder can't do the job, the first runner-up gets it. In professional boxing, you're given 8 seconds to get back on your feet or you're out. And in basketball, the rules on substitution and overtime can't be bent or broken. Can you think of any other election that tops 2022? Straight ahead, a stride towards more Asian representation on American television. A friendly new Muppet is moving to Sesame Street. And new teasers today and tomorrow for Spider-Man fans. We'll give you a peek when we return on Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
Oh, this is a good one.
Love is all about time. Di minamadali ang pagpapasarap. Like the love in every Pure Foods ready-to-eat. Slow-cooked and ready in 8 minutes. Para may time ka sa mga mahal mo. Because love takes time.
Patak, may sarap, may lakas, sulit. Red Horse Beer.
Pogino! Dahil yan sa vet-approved Nutri-Chunks Coat Shine with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real salmon goodness and omega-3 and 6 for healthy skin and shiny coat. Kita naman, di ba? Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks Coat Shine.
Discovery Plus is here. Welcome to your new home of larger-than-life entertainment and unforgettable characters. Subscribe now at 129 pesos per month.
When it comes to my family, I make sure to give them only the best. Meals that are healthy, safe, and flavorful. And that is why I choose Magnolia ready-to-cook chicken templados. It is so easy to prepare. In just 12 to 15 minutes, you can already enjoy this delicious family favorite. All you have to do is preheat your pan with oil. Now, pan fry your Magnolia ready-to-cook chicken barbecue. And if you wish, you can also grill this for about 12 to 15 minutes or until cooked. There you go, and now you can enjoy home-style goodness with Magnolia ready-to-cook chicken templados. Now, each Salyado Sigurado pack is pre-marinated. It is made from fresh chicken. It is so easy to prepare and super delicious. And not only that, but it is also high in protein, which helps boost our immune system. And you can get your Magnolia ready-to-cook chicken templados from Magnolia Chicken Stations. They come in chicken tocino flavor, and they also have the chicken teriyaki. This is so tasty, so tender, super, super delicious. My kids absolutely love this. Now, it's also good to know that Magnolia chickens are raised in a stress-free environment with no hormones, no antibiotic residue, and with omega-3. Ganyan ang alagang Magnolia.
Welcome back. Pinoy rock and folk icon Heber Bartolome died on Monday night. He was 73 years old. The musician was known for his hits with nationalist themes such as Tayo'y Mga Pinoy. He also founded the band Banyuhay. Netizens took to Bartolome's Facebook page to bid farewell to the artist, with award-winning writer Lualhati Bautista writing, "Paalam, Heber." On TV, Sesame Street is welcoming its first ever Asian-American character. Ji Young is a 7-year-old Korean-American Muppet set to make her debut on a new special called See Us Coming Together. This aims to celebrate the diversity of Asian and Pacific Islander communities. The project's co-director says Ji Young will be featured in future seasons of the long-running Sesame Street series. Here's a first look at the guitar-loving new character in action.
I love all of my friends up here, and I love making new friends. Because we can all be friends. Anyone, anyone, anyone can be. Anyone, anyone, anyone can be friends.
See Us Coming Together premieres November 25th. And in movies, the friendly neighborhood hero swings by with 2 surprises this week. A new poster for Spider-Man No Way Home came out today, showing off the heroes team up with fellow Avenger Doctor Strange. And a trailer is set to arrive tomorrow as well. The 3rd installment in Marvel's Spider-Man franchise comes out next month globally, but it'll be a longer wait for us. The film arrives in Philippine theaters January 8, 2022. It is 39 days before Christmas. That is it for now. Join me again on News.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Pia Hontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our guest today, former Senator Bongbong Marcos. Senator, thanks for staying. Are you there? Okay, I don't think we have Senator Marcos on air. While we try to get him, I still wanted to actually interview the senator on various issues. We left it at what he called, what he would be is a unifying president, talking really about the COVID-19 response of government, sabi nga niya, unifying, synchronizing all sectors. And this begins with the vaccination of the public, which really is all about herd immunity. So I am wondering if we still have the senator. We're waiting for that. So we had an interview with Senator Marcos earlier from 9 to 9:30 on television. Now we are live on Facebook. So a lot of questions really, what are his plans? Wala pang Vice President, si Senator Bongbong Marcos. Sinasabi nga niya, everything is evolving. It is still volatile for him right now. And as he mentioned a while ago, he was as surprised as political observers were, because the plan initially was really to get President Rodrigo Duterte as his vice presidential running mate. Let's remember, former Senator Bongbong Marcos filed his certificate of candidacy yesterday. And dun niya po inamin, he said to one of the reporters, I will be candid with you, the plan was really to get President Duterte as his vice presidential candidate. Is the senator back? Okay, andyan na po si Senator Bongbong Marcos. Senator, as I mentioned a while ago, thanks for staying. You're live, sir. Okay, hintayin pa rin natin. I think the senator is still logging in. Okay, so while our team is still talking to former Senator Bongbong Marcos, ang sabi din niya po, they're open to any possibility right now to field a vice presidential candidate. All right, he's back on air. Senator, we are live on Facebook. We just have about 5 to 10 minutes, and I thank you for staying, sir.
Sure.
Okay, Senator, so yung sinasabi niyo pong unifying leadership, let's be siguro very candid about this also. I understand what you're saying. Definitely, COVID will still be with us. Sabi nga ng gobyerno, 1 to 2 more years. But when you said unifying president, a lot of people speculated on the other meaning of that. Meaning, how will you unify the country in terms of, you know, a pro-Marcos, an anti-Marcos, a pro-Duterte, an anti-Duterte? Is that top of mind for you also to be able to unify? No. Okay.
No. To be able to unify is is certainly the most critical thing that we have to achieve. What is not top of mind is the political color of the person that the person or the group that we are dealing with. And I really believe that if you present the people, no matter what their political color might be, if you present a good plan and you present the capability, you have the capability to make the bureaucracy work for you, to do the things that need to be done, by including the coordination with the private sector, including the coordination with individuals, with local governments, etc. If you present a plan for them to all follow, that it can be seen to be effective, then that will be the unifying factor. It is not I'm not talking about unifying political segments. I'm unifying the people, unifying our organs of government, unifying all the different sectors of our society and of our economy to work together. Right now, as I said, there are the different elements are working at cross purposes. Minsan, one side, basically, the private sector is complaining about government is complaining about the private sector, etc. Now, if we could bring that all together, we would certainly, I think, do a better job of managing the COVID, especially with the new Delta variant, with the acquisition of many more vaccines and the big and a big rollout of vaccination to all the different areas. That is what I mean when I say unify. It is not a political unification. That's not the goal here. The goal here is to unify our efforts against COVID. The goal here is to unify our efforts to reignite and revitalize the economy. That's what I meant by unifying.
All right, you made that very clear, Senator. And on the same topic, because you're looking into COVID still present next year. If you win, ano hong plano nyo? I just want to go specifics already because we only have 5 minutes left. What is your plan for the medical frontliners? You obviously know, certainly know what's been happening. Humihingi sila ng break. Maalis po yung ating mga medical frontliners. How do you plan to fix that?
Well, the first, when you look at the COVID situation everywhere in the world, it really boils down to vaccines. That's the most critical, fundamental part. That the acquisition, the whatever arrangements that we can make G2G, private, basta makapagpasok tayo ng vaccine. And then the next part is, as you mentioned, we have to take care of our frontliners. And when nagbago ng definition ng frontliner, dati sinasabi natin yung frontliner, yung mga nasa ospital, yung mga nurse, yung mga medtech, yung mga basta nagtatrabaho sa ospital, mga doktor, even the people who clean, etc. Now the frontliners are changing because nagbubukas na tayo ng ekonomiya. Number one, for example, I would say that now we should define teachers, especially those who are in the pilot program for face-to-face, that they should be considered frontliners and they should be prioritized for the vaccine. That's the same for our health workers. But our health workers, it's become a critical situation because the DOH says the shortfall in nurses here in the Philippines, especially in the pandemic, is 100,000 nurses. The Private Hospitals Association said 40% of their nurses have left nursing because they can no longer support their families by nursing. And that puts us in a very, very critical position, especially now that the Delta variant is shooting up. This is an example of us working at cross purposes. Ang kailangan natin ang ating serbisyo ng ating mga nurse, pero hindi natin sila nabibigyan ng yung sapat na benepisyo, yung mga benepisyo na ipinangako sa batas. So that's immediately a perfect example of what I say working at cross purposes. It doesn't achieve the stated goal and just causes this kind of problem where nurses are leaving. We lack 100,000 nurses, yet we continue to export nurses. So, again, working at cross purposes. So these are the things that I am trying to make sense of. And we have to bring together to unify, by unifying our efforts so that we can open the economy, get back to work, and some kind of normalcy in our lives again.
I'm going to really call this fast talk because it needs to be fast. So what is your plan doon po? Sabihin na, just particularly sa mga nurses, how do you prevent them from leaving the country? Have you thought about that? Is there a plan for them that you already have in mind?
Well, the thing is, let's start with the SRA, the specialist allowance or the hazard pay of the nurses. Let's make sure that they get all of that. Then and again, if we beyond that, even the vaccinations, to still prioritize them when we have booster, when it's time for shots, unahin natin sila. So it's just a question of prioritizing, valuing their and recognizing the work that they do, and supporting them in that regard, because we think of them as nurses, we think of them as doctors, we think of them as technicians, but they are also the breadwinners of their family. And we cannot expect them to come to work and still be worried because they cannot feed their own families. So that's the first step. You support economically, financially the frontliners so that they are there. They are working in the quarantine areas. They're working in the hospitals. Everything that we can do to support stay. It's a labor market that we are competing in. Of course, they go abroad because ang laki ng kinikita nila sa natanggap sila doon. Kailangan natin, but of course, a Filipino would rather work at home. So they will take a less pay, pero talagang sapat para doon sa kanilang pangangailangan, and they will stay at home and they will work here in the Philippines.
Senator, yes or no, if you can, please, will you pursue the drug war of President Rodrigo Duterte with the same vigor, the same aggressiveness?
Yes, but perhaps in a different way. We have seen that the drug war has been conducted purely on the enforcement side. I think that we should also focus on the prevention side, and educational process where we're teaching our young children that that doing drugs is bad, although the health implications, the implications to their lives, etc., etc. So tapos yung pag-rehab, pagandahin naman natin ang mga rehab center natin because there are many rehab centers, there's some rehab centers, but they're not really functioning properly with the most modern techniques. Kaya paglabas na rehabilitate, 6 na buwan, dire-diretso, bibili ka agad ng drugs sa, bago umuwi, bibili na ka agad ng drugs. So, kailangan natin so I think my approach would be the enforcement we have seen can only take you so far, the enforcement side of the drug problem. You have to also look at the prevention side and the curing side.
Do you think there were human rights violations in the president's war on drugs?
Well, they're investigating it, and we will see what the results of that investigation are.
Okay.
It is especially in the beginning of his term. It was really an internecine war amongst the drug dealers, drug lords. But I think that has slowed down, and now we're actually dealing with the bigwigs, those who are really responsible for the supply of drugs being brought into the Philippines.
Senator, last question: will you allow ICC investigators to come into the country if you win as president?
Well, we're not signatory to the Rome agreements anymore. We withdrew. So yeah, they can come. They can be tourists and look at the Philippines. But I don't know. I don't know what they expect that the government will do beyond that. Because again, we don't recognize that investigation, and we have withdrawn as a signatory.
That's right.
We will behave as a non-signatory. If they want to come to the country, we are welcome. Everybody's welcome to the Philippines, but as a visitor.
Yeah, but we did withdraw. However, this covers the years that we were still part of the Rome Statute, hindi ho ba? So that still covers it. There's already a ruling on that. So the question is, yung pong pag-examine nila, pag-investigate nila nung sinasabing crimes against humanity during those times, they may need to come here. The question is, will you allow them and open possibly the records that they may need if you become president?
That clearly is dependent on how they come. What do they come as? Are they coming to investigate all the policemen? They're going to make all of these allegations against people that we have no idea about, and then they want us to help them to bring accusations against our Filipino people, workers in government. Pambira naman siguro yun. I don't think that's right.
So
but once again, come to the Philippines. Everyone is welcome to come to the Philippines, but you will understand that we will have to examine very clearly what your intention is on your coming here, and what the government's place is in those intentions that they have when they come to the Philippines.
Okay, former Senator Bongbong Marcos, sir, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras, and take care of yourself.
Thank you again, Pinky. Ingat lang at maraming salamat din. Magandang umaga po.
And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines. For joining us here on The Source, I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.
CNN Philippines R sa RPN-DZKI-IRIGA alas 6 hasta alas 7 ng manggi, Lunes hanggang Biyernes. CNN Philippines R.
Let's be the solusyon plus sa COVID-19. B. Bawal walang mask at face shield. I. Isanitize ang kamay at iwasan ang kulob na lugar. D. Dumistansya ng 1 metro at limitahan ang pisikal na interaksyon sa iba. A. Alamin ang tamang impormasyon. Plus, suportahan ang FDA-approved na bakuna. BIDA Plus. Bida Solusyon Plus sa COVID-19.
Lolo, Lola, 1 taon na tayong nahiwalay dahil sa quarantine. Miss na po namin kayo at inyong masasarap na luto at pag-aalaga. May bakuna na raw po sa COVID-19. Kunin niyo po ha. Kapag nabakunahan na ang lahat, makakapiling na muli namin kayo. Ingat po.
Kung ikaw ay edad 60 pataas o may iba pang karamdaman, magparehistro na para sa Res Bakuna kontra COVID-19. Res Bakuna, kasangga ng bida at ni Lolo't Lola.
Ano ba ang maaaring maramdaman matapos magpabakuna kontra COVID-19? Maaaring makaranas ng sakit sa ulo, lagnat, pagkahilo, sakit sa katawan o parte ng katawan kung saan binakunahan. Ngunit, huwag mag-alala, pinapaalala ng Department of Health, Bicol Center for Health Development na ito ay mga karaniwang reaksyon ng bakuna sa ating katawan. Isa lamang itong indikasyon na ang bakuna ay epektibo sa pagbibigay sa atin ng proteksyon laban sa COVID-19. Kung makakaramdam ng mga ito, mainam na mag-self-monitor o pumunta sa lugar kung saan kayo binakunahan upang mabigyan ng abiso kung ano ang mga dapat gawin. Suportahan ang Bida Vaccination, maging Res Bakuna para protektado laban sa COVID-19.
Dumating na ang Res Bakuna kasangga laban sa COVID-19. At dahil ang dating nito ay by batches din ang babakunahan. Sa Priority A na grupo, una na ang ating health frontliners. Susunod ang mga mahal nating seniors. Pagkatapos ay mga taong may ibang karamdaman, mga frontliner na non-medical. At susunod ang mga kapuspalad. Mag-abang lamang dahil may priority groups B and C pa. Patuloy nating suportahan ang Res Bakuna at maging bahagi tayo ng Bida Vaccination.
Ako po si Emmanuel H. de la Sala, taga-Barangay Bapor, Masbate City, BS Ed English sa Liceo de Masbate. Nagapasalamat sa ako Bicol Party List kan Congressman Elizalde Esco kag Congressman Alfredo Agar Bin Jr. paagi sa oportunidad na makabaton sa educational assistance bilang suporta sa akon pagkaklase sa kolehiyo. Kag ini magiging paagi na matupad ang akon pangarap kag mabuligan ang akon ginikanan. Sana damo pan iyo mabuligan. Mabuhay ako Bicol Party List.
Ako Bicol Party List. Katabang na, kasurug pa.
Nanlalabo na ba ang inyong mga paningin? O kailangan mo ng proteksyon laban sa radiation? Ano pa ang hindi hintay nyo? Pumunta na sa The Vintage Optical. Ang optical para sa lahat. Visit us at the ground floor, Gaisano Capital, Barangay San Roque, Iriga City. We offer free computerized eye examination. Free frame. Lente lang ang babayaran. Starts at 999 complete eyeglasses with anti-radiation lens. The Vintage Optical, the widest selection of optical signature frames and sunglasses. The Vintage Optical, ang optical para sa lahat.
Ako po si Ernesto Salvador, 66 años na po ako. Kahirap po talaga ang taxi driver. Madalas hindi ako nakakahiye, hindi ako kakainom ng tubig, kaya siguro nagkaroon ako ng UTI. Dito sa likod ng tagiliran ko, nakaramdam ako ng pananakit. Tsaka nahirapan na akong umihi. May nakapagsabi sa akin, try ang Kidney Care.
Ang Kidney Care ay may pomegranate panlaban sa mga toxins at nagpapababa ng creatinine.
Sinubukan ko naman, siguro mga 1 linggo kong ininom, guminawa naman ng pagkaramdam ko. Kaya tinuloy-tuloy ko. Hanggang sa nawala na yung nararamdaman ko sa tagiliran ko. Kahit mas matanda na ako ngayon, pakiramdam ko malakas ang aking katawan dahil inalagaan ko ang aking sarili.
Ang Kidney Care ay mabibili sa Mercury Drugstore at mga suking butika.
Ang Kidney Care hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Ang ganda ng saranggola ko! Doon tayo sa may tore. Mahangin daw kasi doon.
Oops! Alam ba ninyo na bawal magpalipad ng saranggola malapit sa tore?
Bakit naman?
Kasi kapag dumikit ang saranggola sa tore o sa linya, maaaring masunog ito na pwedeng maging sanhi ng malawakang brownout. Posible rin kayong makuryente.
Naku! Nakakatakot naman yun.
Sige, sa ibang lugar na lang tayo maglaro.
Kapag nakakita ng ganitong gawain, i-report agad sa 0917-847-6427 o 0918-847-6427.
Isang paalala mula sa NGC.
Mahal! Magtanim nga tayo ng puno dun sa may tore.
Naku mahal, bawal daw magtanim ng mga puno doon. Pwedeng makaapekto yan sa daloy ng kuryente at magdulot ng brownout.
Kanino mo naman nalaman ang mga yan?
Hello po! Ako si Linoy. Tama si Nanay. Kahit ang konting pagsagi lamang ng mga dahon o sanga ng puno sa linya ay maaari nang makaapekto sa daloy ng kuryente. Gusto niyo bang mawalan ng kuryente?
Aba ayaw.
Kapag nakakita ng ganitong gawain, i-report agad sa 0917-847-6427 o 0918-847-6427.
Isang paalala mula sa NGC.
Mare, pabili nga ng sibuyas. Pagluluto ko lang ng ulam ang kumpare mo. Saan ba nagpunta si kumpare? Ayun, nagtatayo siya barong-barong sa ilalim ng tore. Ano? Mare, mapanganib sa tore.
Tama ka dyan ate, maaaring magdulot ng panganib sa buhay at perwisyo sa komunidad ang pagtayo ng bahay o anumang struktura sa ilalim ng tore o linya ng kuryente.
Naku, pupunta ko muna ang kumpare mo para mapagsabihan at maitigil ang ginagawa niya.
Kapag nakakita ng ganitong gawain, i-report agad sa 0917-847-6427 o 0918-847-6427.
Isang paalala mula sa NGCP.
Isa po sa mga natulungan ng Kidney Care. Ma'am, pangalan po natin at taga saan po tayo?
Ako si Winnie Di Mayuga. Ako ay 58 years old. Ako talaga ay napakahilig sa maalat. Lahat ng kinakain ko, gusto ko talaga maalat. Ay ako'y nakaramdam ng kakaibang pakiramdam, kaya ako'y nagpa-check up sa doktor. Ay nagpa-request sa laboratory ng creatinine ko, pa-check upan ko daw. Ay naku po, pagkataas, above normal Ngayon, ako muna yung nag-pray kay Lord. Ay itong si Lord, napakabuti. Nagpadala siya ng tao sa akin na nag-aalok nitong Kidney Care. Ay agad-agad ay aking sinubukan ito. Ngayon, maka isang buwan, ay napakagaling ng Kidney Care na ay normal na ang aking creatinine Salamat din sa Kidney Care.
Ang Kidney Care ay mabibili sa Mercury Drugstore at mga suking butika.
Basta here, get ready for Magnolia Cheesy Milky White. Ready? Go! Magnolia Cheesy Milky White, Milky White, White, Cheesy Milky, ang creamy pa. Wow! Ang sarap! Yummy! High in calcium, helps make us strong. Go, go, go! Magnolia Cheesy Milky White, Milky White, White, Milky White, White, White.
Salamat, hindi malilimutan ating pinagdaanan, ating pinagsamahan sa hirap at ginhawa, sa lungkot at saya. Salamat, salamat, salamat sa RPN. Noong simula pa lamang, kayo ang naging magulang. Sa aking bawat hakbang, tulong niyo'y tamang daan. Sa aking mga pagsubok, kayo'y laging tumutok. Kayo na ang laging kapay, hanggang sa magtagumpay. Salamat, salamat, hindi malilimutan. Gintong alaala ng ating pagsasama, sa hirap at ginhawa, sa lungkot at saya. Salamat, salamat, salamat sa RPN. Ako'y makilala, sikat sa buong madla. nakita, ilubog ng lumipas. At bawat ngayon at bukas, nakabukit hanggang wakas. Salamat, salamat, salamat sa pagkakataon na makapiling, makabalikan, maging bahagi ng mundo. Salamat, salamat, taus-pusong pasasalamat. Salamat, salamat, salamat sa RPN. Salamat, hindi malilimutan ating pinagdaanan, ating pinagsamahan. Sa hirap at ginawa, sa lungkot at saya. Salamat, salamat, salamat sa RPN.
Ang pinakaenot sa ringkunada. Puon kay do sa gudngunyan. Minaanduyog sa baga na mamanuan. Katuwang para sa kauswagan. Sa mga bareta, patas. Sa impormasyon, public service, enot ka. Malalaoman, katotohanan ang sinasarigan. Inina ang bagong Radyo Ronda. DZKI-IRIGA Radyo Ronda. Ang maugmang kairiba. Madya na.
RPN Provincial Stations, DZBS Baguio, DYKB Bacolod, DXXX Zamboanga, DXKO Cagayan de Oro, DXDX General Santos, DYKC Cebu, DZKI-IRIGA, DXKD Dipolo, DXKS Surigao, DXKP Pagadian, DXKT Davao, at DZRL Bata. RPN Provincial Stations.
RPN Radio Philippines Network, Radyo Ronda, DZKI-IRIGA, member kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Heavenly Father, we have now reached the day's end. Let us rest from today's work that we may awaken to a new day, refreshed and renewed. We thank you for your unfailing help and protection this day. Forgive us for our failings, for our selflessness towards one another, and open our hearts to forgiveness and reconciliation. Ease the burden of the troubled. Bring joy to those who are in sorrow. We pray for the safety of the travelers. Grant wisdom, empathy, and compassion for those guarding the well-being of our nation and those with responsibilities. Continue to shower your blessings in our families and preserve the unity of our society, now and the days to come. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. You have been listening to DZKI-IRIGA Radyo Ronda, a commercial radio broadcasting station owned and operated by Radio Philippines Network Incorporated as authorized by the National Telecommunications Commission with license number BSD-0029-2021, effective on January 1, 2021, valid until December 31, 2023. DZKI-IRIGA Radyo Ronda operates daily on 13 32 kHz with a power of 1,000 watts. This station is under the supervision of RPN Engineering headed by Engineer Joar C. Malnegro, ECE number 11753. Its operation and maintenance are carried out by the following electronics and communications engineer and first-class radio telephone operators duly licensed by the Professional Regulation Commission and National Telecommunications Commission. Abi Lindon C. Toralio, ECE number 36558. Jameson T. Oco, 94-1PV 3794. Charlie P. Buena Obra, 93-1PV 7860. Felix G. Lagrimas, 93-1PNCR 4224, and Joaner L. De Villa, 031PV 25873. RPN-DZKI-IRIGA Radio Ronda is now signing off.